Imagine a world where the sun sets, but the lights never dim. Where the hum of cities continues uninterrupted, and people never close their eyes, not because they choose to, but because they don't need to. Sleep, that mysterious necessity of human life, simply doesn't exist. In this alternate reality, from the moment of birth to the final breath, humans remain perpetually awake. But what would such a world look like? What would it mean for our biology, society, culture, relationships, innovation, and even our sense of self? The absence of sleep isn't just a minor tweak in the human experience, it would be an evolutionary upheaval. Sleep is one of the most vital, yet poorly understood, aspects of life. All mammals sleep, birds sleep, even insects and some plants show sleep-like states. In humans, it's the time when the brain consolidates memories, the body heals, and the mind detoxifies. Remove sleep, and you don't just free up 8 hours a day, you rewrite the very code of life. Let's assume this alternate humanity evolved without any biological need for sleep. Our brains function optimally without rest cycles. There's no fatigue, no burnout, and no mental fog after 18 hours of activity. The first and most obvious impact is time. With an additional third of each day reclaimed, an average 80-year lifespan now equates to more than 100 waking years. Over a lifetime, that's nearly 25 more years of conscious experience. Think of the potential. More time to learn, work, explore, innovate, connect. Industries would transform. The concept of a 9-to-5 job would dissolve. Society would shift toward continuous operation. Businesses, governments, schools, and media outlets would work on 24-hour cycles. There'd be no night shift, just more shifts. Factories would produce non-stop. Supermarkets would never close. Hospitals would be staffed evenly across all hours. Time zones would blur into irrelevance in an economy where someone is always awake somewhere, always working, always consuming. But the impact wouldn't just be economic. Think of the cultural explosion. Musicians, artists, and writers would have twice as much time to hone their craft. Nighttime wouldn't be a constraint but a canvas. Literature, cinema, and art would evolve to reflect a world in constant motion. Night wouldn't be a time of silence and rest but a vibrant counterpart to the day. A separate world of its own with unique expressions, social rituals, and aesthetics. Relationships would evolve too. In our world, sleep synchronizes us. Families go to bed together, partners share sleep cycles, and communities wind down in unison. Without sleep, new forms of connection would emerge. Some might live their lives in cycles, working and socializing with those who share their active hours, while others might become more solitary, carving out unique time windows to create, reflect, or roam. Mental health would be both challenged and liberated. On one hand, no sleep means no insomnia, no nightmares, no sleep paralysis. But it also removes a natural psychological reset. Sleep helps regulate mood, process trauma, and manage stress. Without it, would our minds adapt or unravel? Would new neural mechanisms evolve to simulate rest and emotional recovery? Would meditation, virtual experiences, or drug-induced mind states take the place of dreams? Speaking of dreams, the loss of dreams alone would reshape human identity. So many of our insights, inspirations, and intuitions emerge from dreams. Great works of art, scientific breakthroughs, even moments of personal clarity are born in the dream world. Without it, would creativity become more mechanical? Or would humans find new ways to simulate that altered state through technology or neurochemical interventions? Education would change dramatically. Children would have more waking hours to absorb knowledge. Learning could become deeper and more expansive, with time to master not just core subjects but music, languages, philosophy, coding, and crafts. Lifelong learning would truly mean lifelong. The barrier of time would be lifted. So would the boundaries of personal development. Fitness, meditation, therapy, skill building, these things could now occupy dedicated daily slots without competing with rest. Personal growth could become a 24/7 pursuit. A more awake world could be a more actualized one. Yet not everything would be brighter. Light pollution would become universal. The night sky might disappear behind an eternal glow. Cities would have no dark hours to reset. Wildlife that depends on circadian rhythms and nocturnal patterns could be devastated. Even our own biology, despite the no-sleep premise, might struggle with the absence of contrast between day and night. We may need artificial cycles, engineered periods of low light, quiet, and stillness to preserve mental equilibrium. Crime and law enforcement would need to adapt. A constantly awake society never lets its guard down, but it also never rests. Criminal behavior might shift in pattern, exploiting the fatigue of systems, not individuals. Policing might become predictive, with AI managing shifts and surveillance in real time. Technology would take a central role. With no downtime, people would rely more on digital tools to manage cognitive load. AI assistants could help schedule mental recovery, manage information intake, and recommend time for reflection. Virtual reality could simulate retreat, helping humans mimic the benefits of solitude, rest, and imagination. Religious and spiritual life would change too. Many traditions incorporate sleep and dreams into rituals and sacred practices. Prophetic dreams, meditative sleep, and night vigils play roles in faith across cultures. Would spirituality evolve new forms? Perhaps 24-hour temples and churches, digital dream simulators, or silent hours of introspection powered by tech-enhanced trance states. And what about love? Would romance become more fluid or more fragmented in a world without shared sleep? Pillow talk, cuddling, lazy Sunday mornings, all gone. But maybe new rituals would emerge. Shared quiet hours, immersive VR experiences, or biosynced rest phases that mimic intimacy. Love would adapt, as it always does. The workplace would transform beyond recognition. Careers might span across multiple domains. People might work shorter, intense stints in different fields throughout the day. A doctor by dawn, a musician by dusk. Or people might work continuously in fields that demand round-the-clock output, like space exploration, bioengineering, or planetary colonization. Even death might lose some of its sting. With more waking years, people would have more time to say goodbye, make peace, create legacy. Life would feel longer, not just in number but in experience. But at the heart of it all, the biggest change would be existential. Sleep gives us rhythm. It marks time, gives days their punctuation, grants our brains the contrast between effort and surrender. Without it, would we still feel human? Or would our lives blur into a continuous stream without pause? Perhaps new rituals would evolve to simulate that rhythm. Humans might embrace quietude hours, times of stillness, not because of fatigue, but because of choice. We might create synthetic nights, periods where cities dim and people unplug, not out of necessity, but to preserve sanity, balance, and the essence of what once made us human. In this world without sleep, everything changes. And yet, maybe, some things remain. The desire to pause, to reflect, to drift into a world beyond logic and control, that may never go away. Even in a world perpetually awake, perhaps, deep within, humanity would still seek the mystery of dreams. Not out of need, but out of longing. A longing for silence in the noise, stillness in the storm, and the comforting embrace of the dark that once cradled us all. In the end, the story of a sleepless humanity is not just science fiction. It's a mirror to our modern world. As technology chips away at our rest, as the clock blurs with screens and deadlines, we inch closer to that reality. But perhaps the real question is not whether we can live without sleep, but whether we should. For in those quiet hours of nothingness, we find something essential: the rhythm of life, the magic of dreams, and the peace of being still in a world that never stops.